Frank, seriously, the way you are sitting in that chair right now,
What? I'm just relaxing.
you look like a deflated balloon. Like your spine is.
Okay, fair. But actually, wait, this is literally the perfect example because the way you are sitting in your chair right now, like right at this exact second, it might be costing you thousands of dollars over your career.
Okay, I need a second. Thousands of dollars because of slouching?
Yeah, because the way that high earners think about money is exactly how they think about their posture and the way they speak. After, over 20 years of looking at how people handle money, there are these hidden skills, 7 of them actually.
And let me guess, none of these are on a typical resume.
Exactly. They do not show up on a spreadsheet, but they separate the highest earners from everyone else. And the last one we're going to talk about today is literally worth 7 figures for a family. But I think the data shows like 55% of Americans never even try it.
Okay, wow, 7 figures? We need to get into this. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Frank. Welcome to Talk and Wonder. We create easy-to-understand whiteboard animations covering family finance, investing, passive income, and debt management.
Our goal is to break down complex financial topics, help you avoid traps, and build wealth together. So if you want to secure your future, you are exactly in the right place.
So let's start with the first invisible skill, which is how you speak at work, or even how we speak to each other about money, because it is literally costing you money and promotions.
Like rambling? Because, I love you, but when we first bought this house, the way you explained the mortgage rate to me was.
Okay, let's not bring up to 2018 budget spreadsheet.
I'm just saying, people just tune out. You notice they stop looking at you, and you're like, why is my boss glazing over?
Right. If you cannot speak effectively, people stop listening. They genuinely do not care if you were rambling. I remember when I was a teenager, I had this sales job, right?
Uh-huh.
I was on this client call. There were 2 people from my company and the prospect. And the guy asks, how would we help them do something? And I told them this really nice sounding thing for 2 whole minutes.
2 minutes is an eternity on a sales call.
It was awful. And at the end, the guy just goes, well, you just said a lot of words, but what did you actually say?
Oh, Frank, stop. That is brutal.
It was like a dagger in my heart because I realized I just talked for 2 minutes, but it would have been, 100 times better if I had just been succinct for 15 seconds.
So it's not even about the idea itself. It's the delivery. If you lack the communication skills, you just speak too quickly or you use like tons of filler words.
Exactly. It camouflages the actual thing you're trying to say, and
Or they just stay quiet. And the people who never speak up at all, they just get ignored, which means no raises, no promotions.
it feels unfair, right? But people decide how competent you are based on how you deliver your idea, long before they ever judge the idea itself.
Right. Okay, so how do we fix it? Because telling someone stop rambling is like telling our kids to calm down. It doesn't work.
True. So here's a practical fix. This afternoon, I want you to record yourself talking for just 60 seconds on your phone.
About what?
Anything. What are you working on right now? Or what do you do for fun? Just 60 seconds. Then, watch it back.
Oh, God. Watching yourself talk on video it's a form of torture. You just want to die.
And I love that. Your feeling of wanting to die fills me with joy.
You're so supportive, honey.
No, but seriously, because I know you're about to get better. You will instantly notice when you ramble. You'll notice the ums and ahs, and each moment you identify is an area where you can practice simply stopping, gathering your thoughts, and then finishing your point.
Which instantly makes you look more authoritative.
Exactly. And the next skill on this list is something honestly, you would never connect it to your income. It's your fitness.
Oh, boy. The classic I'll get in shape when I have more time excuse.
Right. But the longer you wait, the harder it is. And it's tragic when I meet people who have accumulated all this money, but their health it's not even their 10th priority. And look, I used to tell myself the exact same thing. For years, I was just this super skinny guy.
You were.
I was. And deep down, I genuinely believed I could not change. I thought it was my genetics keeping me from building muscle. If you had told me back then that building muscle would contribute to my career or to building wealth, I would have laughed in your face.
But you did change it. I mean, you eventually hired a trainer, you learned how nutrition actually worked.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the most impactful uses of money I have ever made in my entire life.
Let me guess, a fancy gym membership or some crazy supplement?
Nope, a $30 food scale.
Wait, a food scale? Just 30 bucks?
Literally 30 bucks. When I found out how much a normal serving size actually was compared to what I was eating, it blew my mind. I was genuinely shocked.
Okay, but how does this actually connect to earning more money? Because they seem like totally different worlds.
Because what was critical wasn't the muscle itself. It was taking a story that I'd been telling myself, I have bad genetics, I can't gain weight, and realizing it's just a story. It wasn't actually true.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you start looking around thinking, what other stories am I telling myself that are complete garbage?
Exactly. Like, I'll never get out of debt, or I don't deserve a higher salary. When you become someone who shows up, who follows a system, and makes consistent progress in your physical life, that shift, it transfers over to lots of other areas, especially money.
Which actually, that brings up something really heavy, because talking about physical health and family money, there's a flip side to that.
What do you mean?
The what if. Like, what if the system fails? What if something happens to you tomorrow?
Ah, the assurance piece.
Right. Would our kids be okay financially? Because building wealth and getting fit is great, but protecting the family, that is the foundation. I mean, if the worst happens, they need to know where the accounts are, how to cover the mortgage.
Which is exactly why we had that very uncomfortable conversation a while ago, getting term life insurance.
Ugh, I hated that conversation, but it is so necessary, especially for busy parents. You think, oh, I have life insurance through my employer, we're fine.
Which is a trap, because it can disappear the exact moment you leave that job or get laid off.
Exactly. That's why setting up our own policy, like getting it done online right from the couch in under 10 minutes, was huge for my anxiety. No health exams, just done.
And the math is just a no-brainer. You can get, what, $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day?
Yeah, if you have kids, locking in those low rates while you're young and healthy is probably one of the smartest, most crucial defensive moves you can make for your family's future.
It gives you that absolute peace of mind. But once that defensive shield is in place, you still have to deal with the day-to-day anxiety of actually managing the money coming in, which is funny because people are so addicted to checking their little financial apps on their phones, even though it literally does nothing for us.
Oh God, guilty. It's like checking the fridge when you know you just looked 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. But it's wild because one study showed that even among households earning between like 100 and 150K a year, 1 in 3 still worry about paying their bills.
Which makes sense. Lifestyle creep is real.
It is, but I've spoken to people making $400,000 a year who still feel the exact same way.
Okay, wait. Are you serious right now? 400,000 and they are stressed about bills?
I am dead serious because they don't have a system. To get to the highest income levels, successful people, they have a system in place so their money is handled without ever having to open up a banking app.
Right. The paycheck comes in and the system just does its thing.
Automatically. It splits it. Investments, savings, bills, all handled automatically. The only money you actually see is what's left, and that is yours to spend. Guilt-free.
Which means you are not, standing in the grocery store tracking the price of asparagus.
Right. And you're not relying on memory either. Like, this account has to get paid on the 14th of the month, but only if the moon is blue.
Yes, that is exactly how we used to operate. It was exhausting. Once we set up the conscious spending plan, the money just handled itself. It is the ultimate marriage saver, honestly.
It really is.
Okay, so once the money is on autopilot behind the scenes, there is another skill. And I am so glad we're talking about this one because you used to be so bad at this.
Hey, wait, which one?
Skill number 4, focusing on your physical appearance and your posture.
Okay, fair point. I genuinely didn't get it for the longest time.
Because you had that whole, invisible belief of the Silicon Valley guy.
The tech bro uniform, yeah. The belief that if you wear even a button-down shirt to work, what's wrong with you? You actually must be stupid because real engineers only wear a t-shirt.
I am too smart to care about clothes.
Exactly. But I found this to be so untrue because your physical appearance, the way you carry yourself, what you're wearing, it gives clues to people about the kind of person you are. And although we hate to acknowledge these snap judgments,
They are real. We're all human. We judge instantly.
we do. And importantly, those snap judgments then affect how people perceive everything you say afterwards. I mean, think about a typical money person.
Oh, I picture an older guy in an ill-fitting suit sitting across a mahogany desk telling me all the fun things I can't do.
Right, and I was determined to show that that is not how I see money. Money can be youthful, it can be comfortable, which is why I love sweaters, and I am unapologetic about it.
You do love your sweaters, but it's not just the clothes, it's the posture. I mean, you actually hired a posture coach.
I did, which sounds ridiculous until you realize posture is one of the most visible signals of authority. I didn't think about this until one day I saw a photo of myself from the side.
Oh no, the side profile trap.
I was horrified. Let's just say I did not enjoy that experience. From that day on, I decided I am going to treat posture as a trainable skill, just like my money.
Which is why we have footrests under our desks now.
Yup, your chair is probably messed up, your desk height needs adjustment. If you fix the setup, great posture isn't something you have to try to do. It becomes automatic.
And you constantly ask me to take candid photos of you standing around, just so you can check.
And every time I look at them, I go, oh God, I gotta really work on that. Because if you collapse in a meeting, hey, everybody, I'm living a rich life, so cool.
It's impossible for anyone to take you seriously.
Exactly. But presenting well is just the surface. What high earners actually do when they open their mouths
Is they ask amazing questions.
Oh, you mean instead of just saying, how do I get rich?
Exactly. Because if you ask generic, vague questions, you are going to get horrible answers. I remember we were at that launch party for a friend of ours.
Oh, the one with all the college kids? Yeah.
Right. We were just standing there having a snack, and this young guy comes up and asks, based on what you know now, looking back on your career, what would you have done differently to accelerate it?
Wow, that is a heavy hitter for a college party.
Right? I was like, that is one of the best questions I've ever been asked. It actually forced me to think. Compare that to the DMs I get where people are like, hey, what should I do to start investing?
I don't know, maybe read the book you wrote about it or the gajillion YouTube videos?
Exactly. It shows you haven't even done the basic foundational research, but it goes deeper than that. Asking the right questions it unleashes this whole new perspective you might never have considered.
I actually love this because instead of asking, like, how do I get a new job, you could ask, how do I build the skills that will make it easy to get a higher paying job?
Yes, it shifts the focus to you. Or even better, from a family perspective, instead of just how do I make more money, asking how do I construct a life that allows me to be with my kids all day, at least 3 days a week? Right.
When you ask that question, the math changes, the career choices change. It completely rewrites the rules.
Which is exactly why this invisible skill will never show up on a spreadsheet. But none of it matters if you have broken, invisible beliefs about money.
Like, I can never get ahead, or money comes, money goes.
Right. If you believe you don't deserve to have a lot of money, you won't. The world's highest earners, they believe they deserve to have that money. But knowing it and actually doing it, those are two very different things.
which takes us to the daily execution part, skill number 6.
Oh, let me guess. It's the elaborate 5 a.m. morning routine, waking up, taking an ice bath, journaling in a Himalayan salt cave.
Exactly. And achieving inbox 0 by 6 a.m. Yes.
It's exhausting just watching those videos.
It is. And the funny thing is, I find that a lot of people are completely obsessed with inbox 0 and these elaborate daily rituals. But in my experience, the absolute highest earners, they're much more easygoing about this stuff.
Really? Because the stereotype is that they are, hyper-optimized robots.
They aren't. They give up on having a perfect system because inbox 0 is not the point of life. We are here to live a rich life, not to have an empty email folder. What they do instead is they set ruthless priorities.
Ruthless. I like that word.
It's the only way it works. Let's do it right now. It's Monday morning. You start with one question. What is the one thing that I could finish this week that would actually move my career or my income or my family forward?
Just one thing?
One thing. That goes at the top of the list. You plan the hours in your calendar and everything else, it just falls around it.
Or it just doesn't get done at all.
Exactly. If somebody comes at you with a, hey, quick call or some emergency that isn't working, you just go, okay, it's not going to happen because it's not my problem.
It's their problem.
Right. When I prioritize things, I am not taking on everyone else's problems for myself. I am focused on the thing that I set on Monday morning. And that discipline, it pays off. But
Wait, there's one more, right? You said there were 7.
yeah, there is a skill I haven't shared yet. And this one actually generates a huge amount of money, like millions.
Is this the one where you said like 55% of people are just too terrified to even attempt it?
Yeah, because they think it's awkward.
Oh, negotiating.
Yes! Skill number 7, always negotiate. It's fascinating because companies do not voluntarily pay you more. They just don't. They will pay you what you ask for and what the market allows.
Which makes sense, but what you said 55%? That's more than half the country just accepting the first number they see?
Because they hate the word awkward. Oh, asking for money is so awkward. You think I care if things are awkward? Important things are often awkward. And avoiding like 5 minutes of discomfort, it can cost you way more than you realize.
Okay, give me the numbers because I know you have the math ready.
Oh, I have the math. Okay, let's use a standard baseline. Let's say you currently make $80,000 and you negotiate, let's say a $25,000 raise.
Which is a big jump, but totally possible if you're switching jobs or severely underpaid.
Exactly. So now your total salary is $105,000 with a standard 3% cost of living increase every year after that. For 30 years, you have earned a total of $4.99 million.
Okay.
Now, without that raise, if you just stayed at $80K with the same 3% bumps, you earn $3.8 million.
Okay, I need a second. Frank, stop. Is that a $1.2 million difference?
It is $1.18 million more from one conversation.
Oh my God.
And look, even if you don't get $25K, even a $5,000 raise negotiated just once in your 20s or 30s, that is still a difference of nearly $238,000 over a career.
Which is crazy because we used to do this. People will spend hours agonizing over cutting a $15 Netflix subscription or clipping coupons or feeling guilty about buying a latte.
Right, squeezing pennies out of a salary.
Exactly. You're playing extreme defense when you could literally spend a weekend preparing for one conversation that raises your family's income ceiling by hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Which is why the highest earners focus on increasing their income, because the only person who can change your income is you. No one is going to walk over to your desk with a wheelbarrow full of thousands of dollars and just hand it to you.
That would be nice, though. So you don't just walk into your boss's office on a random Tuesday and say, hey, inflation is crazy, I need a raise.
No, please do not do that. You want to spend months preparing. You research the actual market rate for your current role. Honestly, when people actually do this research, like 40% discover they are underpaid by $10,000 to $15,000 instantly.
Right, so you gather the data.
You gather the data, you create a record of real wins, specific results with actual numbers, and you shift the conversation. It is never, I want more money. It is, here is how I will become a top performer at this company, and if I hit these specific ROI milestones, I expect to be compensated accordingly.
You basically build a business case for yourself.
Exactly, you build the case. But of course, timing matters. There are certain times when it is significantly better to negotiate when you have the leverage, and there are other times where the company holds all the cards. And if you try to force that conversation when the company has the power,